Alright, hello everybody. So, this is going to be, I think, episode 4. No, this is episode 5. It's episode 5 of me going over all of the unique weapons in Borderlands 2.5. And today we've got SMGs. And we're just going to start with Bandit. And so, there's 4 of them here. And we're going to start with the Pearl, which is the white snake. This replaces the orc. And as far as I know, it's got pretty standard stats. I think it's got quite a bit higher damage, and the mag size seems to be a little bit higher. But other than that, it seems to be a pretty standard Bandit SMG. But sometimes when you reload, you'll get this little special effect down here. When that triggers, you increase your pellet count by a pretty crazy amount, and then your fire rate goes up and your projectiles bounce everywhere. Oh, we had the effect there. Yeah, so you see the projectiles are crazy when the effect is active, and definitely worthy of a pearlescent. But yeah, that's the white snake. And next here's the Uzi, and this has very high fire rate, almost 27 shots a second there. And then the magazine size is very large as well, and you can just see the absolutely ridiculous fire rate there. And just like that, we're through 150 shots. But it fires so fast, sometimes the damage numbers will overlap. And you can see a 981 in there. And that's actually the damage of 2 shots because it just fires that fast. And this actually has the wrong accessory on it. That is a damage increase accessory. That's not intentional. So just know that normally when you get this, your damage would be, if you don't have this accessory, your damage would be slightly lower than what it is here. But that's all that accessory does, so it's not a huge difference. Doesn't really affect the special effect of the fire rate here. Anyway, next up is the meat grinder. And you can see 2 ammo per shot, smaller mag size, very low fire rate, low damage per projectile, and also low accuracy. But you can see 12 projectiles per shot here. So, and because Bandit has like the built-in chance to fire twice, the fire rate's really actually not that bad. And you see the projectile speed slower as well. But yeah, you get 12 projectiles there. That's the meat grinder. So here we have the jalapeno, which has higher fire rate, higher dot damage, higher dot chance, and the damage is slightly lower. It's also fire locked. But this is pretty good dot weapon, and yes, so that right there was something I forgot to cover with the white snake. The special effect here can transfer to other guns. So yeah, the jalapeno does not have that special effect like that. It's just a very good fire SMG. See that dot damage there is 646k around there, whereas your bullets are only doing how much is the bullet doing? Is that the 596? Is that the bullet? Yeah, so the dot damage is actually higher than the gun damage on this, and it has pretty good gun damage already. Next here is dull, and there is 3 of these. Let me show up with that. So the first one here is a storm bolter, and you can already tell what this thing is. 5 ammo per shot, 6 bullets per shot, very high damage, very high fire rate, very high magazine size. And I'm gonna actually go buy ammo real quick because that's I wanna. So you see, none of the parts on this weapon are boosting the mag size, and none of my skills are boosting my mag size. So that default mag size is 1386, And right here we have 1350. So you cannot even fill up one magazine without capacity boost on this gun. But you see when you pull the trigger, I'm going to click the mouse once, I'm going to let go. It fires continuously like a chopper. But that's the Storm Bolter. Next here is the Sanguine. So you see it's got pretty low fire rate for a doll SMG. Most of them have about 7.1 here. And very high damage for a doll SMG. And you can see that's low fire. When you shoot, okay, so it's hard to show here, but when you shoot enemies, transfusion orbs should fly out and they'll go towards you and heal you. And when you ADS, watch my health bar down here. Your health just drains. That's the special effect of this. And then when you ADS, it's also full auto. Okay, so you see those transfusion orbs right there. They actually only trigger when you ADS, I guess. Yeah, so you get those transfusion orbs when you're aiming down sights. And you also have a higher... Well, it seemed to trigger it... Okay, how exactly does that work? Alright, so when you shoot him, it'll trigger the transfusion orbs. I mean, ADS, your fire, it goes up, and it's a fully automatic weapon. It's not burst like a normal doll SMG. But you can just see the crazy amount of health orbs it generates and the amount of healing this thing gives you. So, even with it draining your health, it will keep you alive. Really, the only form of lifesteal on any guns in the mod. They removed Moxie healing in this game, so this is technically the only lifesteal gun. And actually, the Morita, which it doesn't really have anything special about it other than it fires lasers. Like, its damage isn't anything crazy. It's got a cool skin, and it fires lasers. It's easy to get, because you just get in the last cow puddle in Frostburn. But, other than that, it's not too special. But that's doll SMGs. Next, we have the Hyperion ones here. And there's 4 of these. So first we have the Crusader, which this is, it's not fire locked, but it is always elemental. So that's why I've got an element on it here. And, it just really has, improved damage. That's about all there is to it. Stat-wise, that's all there is to it. But when you ADS, not ADS, but let's shoot this wall over here. Maybe not. Let's go up to accuracy there, and then... See, you can see it fires in a cross pattern. That's hence the name Crusader and the little symbol here. Fires in this cross pattern, and you saw right there it fired in a circle because of the accuracy of Hyperion SMGs. When you start, it kind of ruins the firing pattern on it, but it does have this neat little cross pattern though. Yeah, so that's the Crusader. Next here we have the Slobber Knocker. And, this weapon, I do not have a blade on it, because, like I would most of these, because I wanted to show you its special effect. You can see it's got, 150% melee damage with no blade. And it does the melee animation, even though I do not have a blade. And I think that's pretty interesting. And you can see the damage there. It was a crit. So 35-45 as opposed to 21-27 with the blade on it. So if you get a blade on this, it'll be 200% melee damage. Next we have the complementary, which has decreased damage per projectile, but increased projectile count, increased fire rate, mag size. Yeah, increased fire rate, mag size. And I believe it's 2 ammo per shot. Yeah, 2 ammo per shot there. You can see it fires 4 shots. And that fire rate's just very high. When you ADS, it's only 1 ammo per shot, only 1 projectile per shot, and its damage is actually lower. But when you score a crit, it's doing... I think a body shot there was 164. So it's doing 15 times the damage when you score a crit, and that is extremely high. Now, if we were to use a shotgun version, when you hit fire, you're still getting lower damage when you ADS, but your range is much better and your accuracy is much better. But times 15 damage on a critical hit, that is an insane amount of damage. And that can do some weird things. Like, so if you, with crit swapping and whatnot, if you fire, I didn't mean to do that. If you fire a weapon with slow projectile speed, I don't really have any good examples here. You can then switch to this and then ADS and just get that crazy crit damage on that slow projectile weapon, but that's kind of not intended, so yeah. So the Basher here, very low fire rate, very low mag size, or not very low, but lowered mag size for a Hyperion, and 2 arrow per shot. And then it's very high damage and 2 projectiles per shot. And something I forgot to mention on, where is it? Both the Meat Grinder, the Jalapeno, and the Storm Bolter, they do not always spawn with those barrels. The barrels can change on those. I think that was the only ones I missed that on, right? Yeah, Morita always has that barrel. Okay, yep. None of these barrels change though. These are always the same on all of these. Okay, you can see it has 17.9 million, or 1.7 million damage, which is very high for a Hyperion SMG, or SMGs in general, really. Yeah, so that's Hyperion SMGs. Next up is Malawan. We've got, I think 6 of them here. Yeah, these are the same gun. Yeah, so first up is the Telona, which has very low fire rate and 6 ammo per shot, and then a decreased mag size. And its damage is quite a bit lower as well, but very high dot damage, very high dot chance. And I don't think it has splash damage. Yeah, no splash damage. But you can see just how slow the fire rate is and how fast it goes through the magazine. But the dot damage is ridiculously high, and I've actually played this some on an actual build, and this thing is broken. They nerf it every update, and it's still just completely broken. But yeah, that's a Telona. Spark Mouse here. Oh, I should note, this does not always have Malon barrel. I think this Spark Mouse also does not always have Malon barrel. Yeah, the barrel can change on the Spark Mouse. And as for firing mode, you can see it fires E-Tech projectiles instead of like regular projectiles. And it also has 200% critical hit damage here and a very high fire rate. Yeah, increased fire rate for Malon SMG, and then its damage seems to be normal. Mag size is a little bit lower though. But again, very high dot damage, very high dot chance. And then when you crit, so 392, 1963, and this gun has splash damage, and I'm fairly certain that is grenade splash damage. Next up here's a Cerberus, which has even higher fire rate than the Spark Mouse. Lower damage, better dot chance. But it doesn't have the crit boost to that. But when you shoot it here, okay, this is a bad place to show it, but let's go here. It splits into 3, almost like the Becca. And let me go find a good wall here to shoot this at. Right here. I need to get further back though. So you see there's one projectile there. So the split is very far away, but you can see it right there. It splits into 3. Yes, that's the Cerberus there. Oh, and again, just to show the fire rate, it's a very high fire rate for Malon SMG. And next here we have the Decimator, which doesn't have quite the dot damage of the last two, but higher dot chance. And you see slag and explosive damage, but it's 2 ammo per shot. And then Mr. Torque, I don't feel so good. That is very obviously a reference to Avengers. But you see it's got higher base damage in all of these. In addition to having, like, even higher base damage. What just happened? Even higher base damage than the Spark Mouse here. And you'll see Where is it? So it has explosive splash damage. There's that little Nova. And, kind of sucks that splash is explosive instead of the splash being slag. And you see the slag damage there is higher than the explosive damage, which that kind of hurts this weapon. However, on characters like Axton and Krieg, who increase grenade damage, increasing your grenade damage would increase the splash, so that works for them. But in general, it's kind of a drawback, but it's not huge. Next up here is the Suture and the Wildcat. So this has two versions here, and I'll show off both of them. There's the blue and the purple version, and you see the blue one just has better stats everywhere. Increased damage, accuracy, mag size, dot chance, dot damage. However, for my testing, I have yet to get a purple one, and so I don't think that the purple one is actually able to drop at the moment. I don't know if it'll ever be able to drop, but that's just something I want to say first. When you see Suture here, it's non-elemental, which is odd for a Malon SMG. It's got lower mag size than these, but it has higher mag size than a regular Malon SMG. A bit slower reload if we look at, or actually a bit faster reload, my mistake. Yeah, it's got a faster reload, fire rate, and then the damage is pretty high. In addition, have a 75% crit, but you'll see why that doesn't work very well. Yeah, so it shoots like a madhouse. And, we all know that the madhouse is not great. Even with how high its base damage is, this firing mode doesn't work very well. But if you do, so body shot here, 391, but if you do manage to score a crit, 2154. So it does do good damage, but also it doesn't have the bullet split of the madhouse, which that's good and bad. Bad because that doesn't have the damage bonus that bullet split gave the madhouse, but it can get affected by close enough. So you see a point blank, you do, yeah, even point blank. So you land a lot of crits, but we're still missing shots at this range, and that's kind of unacceptable. So Suture, on paper, very powerful, but in practice, this firing mode just makes it very difficult to fire. Makes it very difficult to actually use. Maybe on bigger targets like a constructor with its big crit spot, but other than that, it's not really great. Now, like I said, purple one seems to be bugged or maybe just not intended in the first place, so I'm not going to actually look at that one's stats here. I'm just going to look at the purple one. So over a normal on SMG, it's kind of just got increased reload speed, mag size, dot damage, dot chance, and damage, and then 101% crit damage here. And it always has these parts. It's always dull sight, always mallow on stock, always mallow on grip. Barrel doesn't change since it's a unique barrel. Always has a blade, always has this damage accessory. So if you're gonna farm this, I'm pretty sure it's a quest reward, but I could be wrong. So if you're going to farm it, it's really not hard to farm. Especially since it has completely fixed parts, so you don't need to farm it at all. You just get one drop and you're good. But you see there, 259 on a body shot, 1081 on a crit. So it's pretty good. Oh, also, when you shoot the floor, it's going to split into, I'm not quite sure how many projectiles. Or it might not actually split, I think it just bounces. Yeah, it just bounces, that's all it does. Yep, so that's a Wildcat. We're done with Malawon, so on to the TDRs, and there's only two here. So we have the Edison and the Fission. So the Edison here has increased fire rate, increased reload speed, increased mag, accuracy, and damage. It's really good. And when you shoot it, it doesn't really have anything special when you shoot it. It does have ammo regen. But the big thing is when you reload it, see it bounces, right? And shoots bullets, I think, like, or no, it does not shoot bullets like the Avenger. But you see it does a Tesla effect. And that Tesla effect can apply dots. They're not very strong. You see it's only 64k. Whereas the dots, or the actual lightning ticks are 1.1 million, and then that explosion does 16,000 damage. Now, you can't hit them immediately with the explosion. It's always going to Tesla, no matter how close you are when you throw it. So you see we are touching him, and it still does not explode immediately. But explosion does insane damage. Next, here's the fission, and as for stats, it's got increased reload speed and mag size, a little bit of damage, but that's about it. So when you reload it, that's going to kill me. Alright, so you see it drops a Nova, and then that little child grenade. And a child grenade does... So this Nova is explosive. If you have an element on your gun, it's going to be that element. And this child grenade is always shock. This thing has a huge blast radius when you chuck it, so be careful. And if you hit them correctly, the child grenade will explode, like, instantly. And I killed myself. Yeah, so, yeah, if you chuck it correctly, and it's not really even that hard to do, you just kind of look at them, it's going to detonate that child grenade instantly. And shock is penalized against flesh in this mod. And it's doing 17 million damage, and the explosion is doing 19 million. So this combos very well, because shields actually resist explosive, so you have a non-elemental one of these. It's going to do explosive damage and shock damage on chucks. So it's really good against any enemy, armored or flesh, even if they have a shield or not. So in addition to having ridiculously high chuck damage, the fission is very good, and the Edison's also very good, because same reason, it'll strip shields and then do explosive damage. That is all the SMGs there, and so that was episode 5. That just leaves snipers and then hybrids. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.